Welcome to the Flooring 101 podcast. I'm Jason Jabbar. This show is dedicated to helping flooring retailers build better businesses through proven systems for sales, operations, marketing, and leadership. In this episode of Flooring 101, we go one-on-one with Brent Ziggler of H&R Carpets and Flooring in Wanaki, Wisconsin. This episode features a conversation with an industry expert and successful flooring professional who shares a real-world insight you can use to grow your business and increase profitability. Thanks for listening, and let's dive into today's episode. Hey, welcome to the Flooring 101 podcast. I'm your host, Jason Jabbar, and the intent of the Flooring 101 podcast is to help dealers across the country to start, run, and scale a profitable flooring business through proven systems of sales, operations, and marketing. So today we go one-on-one with my guest and my good friend, Mr. Brent Ziggler of H&R Carpets in Wanaki, Wisconsin. Brent, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Jason. Appreciate the invite.
No problem. That sounded official, didn't it? Like I knew what I was doing here.
Yeah, it sounds, that's good. That is scripted and well scripted. You went right into it. Wham. And all of a sudden I'm on. That was good. That was real good.
I just got to go really fast. So before we get into it, why don't you tell us a little bit about your business, its history, and what you guys do at H&R Carpets?
Yeah, so the store itself is 45 years old. It was started by my father-in-law. I came into the store 26 years ago. I've been an owner for just over 15 years, solo owner for just over 15 years. When he opened, he specialized in just carpet, which is why the name is H&R Carpets. I kind of expanded that to and flooring, and we got into a lot more when I got involved, and obviously that's a good thing to be a little bit more diversified. It was interesting. The way he started was one of the other local flooring stores that he installed for allowed him to buy materials off of them for just a really, really minimal markup, find his own clients, do the installation. So he would work, go and measure after hours and do installations on Saturday and Sundays until they got up the business to actually open a retail location, open their own accounts, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of that's the long and short of the business and how it went.
So for him, it was more about just trying to ensure that he was installing everything that he sells.
Yeah, that was the original intent. He had a partner. My father-in-law is the H. His partner was the R. They split pretty quickly after they got going. My father-in-law ended up doing more of the internal business, and the other partner was doing more of the installation, and a little bit of friction there. And he had another opportunity, so they split. Initially it was that to kind of like the American ideal of I want to run my own, I want to control my own, I don't want somebody else telling me, and then it just kind of spouted from there.
So is it still just H&R Carpets, or is it officially H&R Carpets and Flooring?
According to the government, it's H&R Carpets, but according to our signage and all of our posters, it's H&R Carpets and Flooring. That's how we promote and advertise everything.
Okay, so you made a conscious decision to add, because our store is the same way. I mean, we're Jabbar's Carpet Outlet, and I've played with the idea of Jabbar's Flooring Outlet, Jabbar's Carpet and Flooring, and I haven't on our like signage on our store because it's expensive to change. I haven't changed it, but on a lot of our commercials and online materials, we'll tag it as Jabbar's Flooring Outlet. So, and you've kind of done the same thing, made a conscious decision to include all types of flooring, when you're advertising.
And same as you. I didn't change the exterior sign of the building because, like you said, it's really expensive to do that. And I've looked into it a couple times, and it might happen, but I made a conscious effort because I felt like people kept coming in and saying, "Hey, I didn't really realize you guys did anything besides carpet." So, from a marketing strategy, adding that to it, adding it into every advertising that we did. And then I stopped advertising carpet 100%. I just did other flooring because, it's H&R Carpets. If you don't know that we do carpet, then...
So we'll just spend the time telling you about everything else we do in addition to carpet.
Yeah, to get that point across. And that's worked pretty successfully. It took a little while, but yeah, that's worked really successfully to change that marketing strategy that way.
So when you said you aren't advertising any carpet, do you still have people that are coming in and saying, I didn't know that you sold wood floor or laminate or vinyl plank. I mean, does that still happen on a weekly basis?
Yeah, I'd have to check with the staff a little bit more. I'm really a little bit removed from the sales floor. But I haven't heard that. I haven't overheard that as I've been walking through, and nobody said that they're having that issue anymore. So, and it really, that's been a 15 to 20-year marketing strategy. So at this point, I think it's gotten across pretty well that we do other types of flooring.
And are you guys mainly residential replacement, or do you do a lot of commercial work or spec work, new construction?
I stay away from the spec work. We do new construction, but we work with custom home builders.
Hmm.
And then, so the bulk of our business is residential remodel, Main Street commercial, and like I said, we've never gotten into, and I've stayed away from the spec work.
Yeah. So you've been in it 26 years. That's about the same amount of time that I've been in it since I came back.
Hmm.
In that 26-year period, what does it look like? You said you're not on the sales floor, but maybe you should go out there and sell a little bit every once in a while.
I
What's it
do.
look
I
like,
do.
right now to run a flooring store in today's market from the viewpoint of an owner who's boots on the ground?
That's a really good question. I think I think that it's definitely changed pretty dramatically. Our shtick or our business is set up such that I have my salespeople are all interior designers. So I have four interior designers that work as salespeople. Um, in in that, we don't do a lot of inventory materials.
Right.
Give the designers the freedom to help and select without kind of edging people towards a product that we have in stock. And I know there's some savings and offers that you can add to consumers that way, but we've kind of stuck away from that. It's worked really well for us. It takes some of the pressure out of it, and you are really, hey, here's four. Which one makes the most sense for you? Not here's four. This one's really good for you. These other three are a little sketch. I've noticed over the last probably 5 to 10, it really started when you and I first met, was that you have a consumer that feels like they're very educated.
Right.
They come into the store, they think they know what they want. They don't feel like they need help, and then they get quickly overwhelmed. But at the same time, they they want you to feel like they know what they're doing and they know what they're thinking. So it's a harder consumer to work with until you can give them that warm fuzzy that you're really there to help them out and get them more educated, et cetera, to make that experience better, for sure.
Right. So do you think that helps out? So, we're in typically a male dominated industry, and a lot of stores are just going to have either salespeople or they're going to have project managers. And a lot of times those project managers, they have to go out and measure it, and they're going to do the schematics, and, depending on how your store is set up. Do you think it makes your customers feel more comfortable that not only do they have somebody that knows the materials that they're looking at, whether it's carpet or hard surface, but they have a design background that allows them to match up colors and paint and draperies and furniture and that things? Does it make it easier the way you're set up versus just a traditional guy with a pencil who's trying to sell you some carpet?
Yeah, I mean, I'd actually say it does, because there is a very different feel. And I do end up on the showroom floor once in a while. It's not often, but I do end up there once in a while. And there's a phenomenon we have here where you can tell that somebody's not really that comfortable with me, but when one of the designers, and I'll pick up on it pretty quickly, and I'll kind of usher them over to a designer as soon as they're free. I'm only out there if everybody's busy, but as soon as the designer comes free, I can kind of fill them in, and you can watch their demeanor change a little bit and start working with that designer in a different manner than they would with me. Now, the opposite of that, there are customers that love working with me, and no matter what happens, they're going to want to stick with me for sure. But and I've seen that too with the designers. Once they kind of, especially if they're working with a house, a custom house, it's usually female working with a female, and they are they bond really quickly, they start working really well, and they stay in contact. And if that customer ever needs something else, they always come back. They ask for that person, hoping that they're there, and start working with them before moving on with somebody else.
Because
And I was gonna say I'm really lucky because I have one interior designer that's been here for 35 years. I have another one that's been here for almost 20. My two youngest have been here for almost each of them have been here for 10. So my staff is stuck around, and that really, really helps with repeat clients for sure.
But that even gives you an age difference in your designers, though. I mean, you've got some that are probably in their mid 30s and some that are not in their mid 30s. I don't know a good way to say that, but that would give them a way to work with it. Because you're talking about because we don't do a lot of custom builds or new construction, but you're talking about probably a 3-month process that they're working with the designer, 4-month process. I mean, it's a long time. They're building a relationship with that customer.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it does help that you have those different age brackets because you can filter through people. I mean, typically when we're working with a custom builder, that builder has a salesperson that they're the most comfortable working with, right? So everything kind of goes through that salesperson. Our process is our designers help pick the products. I have an expediter that goes out and takes care of all measurements for the designers, brings it back. They actually put out the quote, and then it kind of gets handed over to our scheduler, and she handles scheduling everything. But you're right in the fact that it is a 3 to 4 month process of constantly coming in, coming back, then finally having an opportunity to go out and do a physical measurement because custom builders change things all the time.
Yeah.
While here, while there. That's the beauty of being able to build a custom house. And that rapport that they create is super important. I kind of got off subject a little bit, but yeah, having different ages really helps with the different clients. So, and the designers that aren't mid 30s, their clients are almost all repeat from custom builds that they did in the past or people that they worked with in the past, and they've just built up that over time where their clients are coming in, whereas the younger ones are getting into that process and really leaning into heavily and having a lot of success with that and getting those clients to come back too. And I've noticed too that it seems like the builders that we're working with, those clients are building a home, living in it for 3 to 5, and then building another one.
That's good
Which
business
is awesome.
then.
Yeah, that's great business. I'm a huge
doing
fan.
that. I
Yeah.
wish they were doing that in Wichita right now. So what does your local market look like in Wanaki right now? I mean, how does anything change in the last 12 months? Are you seeing any type of growth in one area or decline in another area?
Yeah. So for everybody that's listening, Wanaki is the best described as a northern suburb of Madison, Wisconsin. And Madison is the capital of Wisconsin, so we have government. The University of Wisconsin, so we have the university, and there's a lot of biotech. Wanaki is a pretty affluent community outside of Madison, so we have we have an affluent clientele is the best way to put that. I've seen over the last 6 to 12 months, we've kind of had a little bit of a slowdown in that people are holding off and waiting on projects that they might have done a little bit quicker. We've been doing more residential remodel. Our biggest custom home builder has been really consistent and really busy. So that's been keeping that side of the business well. Like 6 months ago, I would have said, man, our Main Street commercial is going crazy. And it was for about 2 or 3 months. And then that kind of tapered off too. So now we're kind of back into that 1-2 bedrooms residential remodel. Our carpet business has been much better than our hard surface business has been lately, which is great. Carpet is typically a little bit more profitable.
Yep.
And there's you free up those guys to move around a little bit easier. And we have some good installation crews, which is helping us a lot too.
And are you still, if you count cushion and installation, we're still 65% carpet versus 35% hard surface. Where are you at in that kind of area?
Yeah, I'd say we're still probably in that 60-40 range. So
Yeah.
we're not too far off from you, which is great. I I can keep my carpet guys busy longer. The problem is I only have so many crews. So right now my carpet crews are booked out for 6 to 8 weeks. I think the last time I looked. So if I could get a couple more crews, we could bang out some of that work. But it's a little dangerous in that I don't want those guys to not have work and leave. So there's a real happy medium there of, yeah, I might want somebody to work for a couple weeks to catch us up, but I don't want them taking away the work that those guys would have had in a couple weeks. And everything's been so wonky that, you know, got to be a little careful. Got to take really good care of those installers.
Right. So, you know, for us, the customer, you know, it's they're still spending money, but you know, they've got a set amount. Whatever, you know, and wherever you live, it's gonna be different. But whatever that set amount for us, it just seems like for the customer, it still goes further with carpet. So, you know, if they've got $5,000 to spend on whatever they're doing, they can get more with $5,000 when they do carpet than if they were to do wood or vinyl plank or something like that. Are you finding it kind of the same way where you're at?
Yeah, I think that we've seen a lot of that where people have come in or asked us that they're looking to do a hard surface through the whole living room. They'll get the number on that and be like, well, what if I did carpet? And switching over to that. I do find it interesting, and a question for you too, follow up is, even though people have come in with budgeting concerns, our credit sales have been dead flat, like almost non-existent, no matter what we've been offering. Even when Shaw had a sale earlier in the year where they were offering 0% up to XXX, depending on purchases. And I think we only, during that sale period, I think we had 2 people take advantage of that or decide to go with that. And both of those people, it wasn't, hey, I'm spending more than I want to. It was, well, that's free money, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. So how about you?
I think, you know, our Wells Fargo or Synchrony, you know, our credit options have usually hovered around 5%. Over overall sales, and they're probably right in there. I think for us, there's always going to be that customer that will sit there and wait until they see an advertisement that says 24 months, 36 months, 48 months, and I don't think that's going to change. But, you know, I watch my sales staff and I talk to my sales manager, and whether they're a good salesperson or an outstanding one, it just seems that for us, our customers, they like having the 2% back on their own card so they could use it for airlines or flights or vacations. And the idea of getting, you know, 24 or 36 months, it just hasn't been as enticing. Plus, I guess you know, what I've tried to do is I've just stopped advertising it. So we only really do, you know, we always offer 12 months, and then twice a year we'll offer 24, because otherwise it was just saturation. Well, today it's 18, tomorrow it's 24, next week it's 36, then it's back to 24. And my sales staff couldn't remember all those things. So we're down to kind of 2. So, and that's, you know, it is what it is. So,
yeah, I agree with you. That's kind of what we've done is we always offer 12 months, but then we really only offer the extended terms when they're available through Shaw. And again, like you said, if you offer it every month and change it around, it just gets really, really confusing. So follow up to what you just said too. Sorry, I'm taking over your podcast.
That's awesome.
So you cash and check sales have diminished dramatically for us over the past 20 years, which I assume it has for you.
Sure, across the industry.
Yep. And that 2% or whatever your charge is or whatever your fee is you're factoring into your sales because you kind of have to. Do you offer a percentage off if somebody decides to pay with check or cash?
1% back if they pay with cash. And it hasn't been, it's not super enticing, but there are customers that will ask, you know, do you give cash discounts? And you know, one thing I always try and tell people, whether they're listeners on the podcast or they're seeing something online in one of the many different like Facebook forums, is that you also need to check your state laws. I'm always amazed at the number of business owners that don't know what their state laws are, you know, in regards to credit cards and fees and what they can and can't do. I mean, you know, there's a lot of owners out there that are charging fees to their customers for using a credit card in states where that's not allowed.
Hmm.
Kansas being one of them, you're not allowed to do that. So, you and I are both like, well, we're figuring in the cost of the credit cards into whatever our selling price is, as we should. There's still a lot of owners out there that are just like, nope, I'm going to add 2% onto their bill if they choose to use a credit card, which is legal in some states. But I would tell you most of them don't know if it is legal. They're just doing it. So for
Yeah,
those of you out
that's
there,
a
don't get caught or know your state laws.
yeah, that's a little bit of a dangerous game to play. I agree with adding the charges on, and like you said, it's totally legal in some states, but factoring them into your cost is completely legal and can never come under question.
I,
Um,
I wanted to ask you, just kind of following back, is we never talk personal numbers with somebody on the podcast about what their business does, but the idea that for us, have you found like our hard surface pricing, what I pay my installers and what I charge my customer, has stayed fairly consistent for the last 5 or 6 years. There's been a threshold where I can't charge more per square foot to the customer, otherwise they're going to balk and so on. But for carpet, it seems like it's becoming so specialized. I have installers that come in every day that want work, that they're like, I'm a carpet installer, but I don't know how to do seams and I don't do stairs. Like, okay, well, you can't work for us. But we found with our customers, we've been able to continue to increase our charges on carpet because they can't find anybody that does carpet. Like, they know a guy who can put in wood or can snap together a laminate, but because there is no alternative source other than either an independent contractor or a specialty retailer like us, that we've been able to continue to raise our carpet prices to the customers, the installation price, because it's becoming such a specialized industry. Have you found that, or?
yeah, for sure. I've often said carpet guys get the raw end of the deal. They're underpaid for what they do, and they deserve to be compensated in a manner that's a little bit more consistent with what the hard surface guys are making on a daily basis. It should be a little bit more equal. So we've been working hard to get those carpet numbers up a little bit on the installation side. Otherwise, it's just not attractive to continue to do carpet installation. In fact, we had a couple of carpet crews that just like, they're like, well, we're just not going to do carpet anymore. It's so much more lucrative to snap in LVP when it was, super hot and the greatest thing in the world to do. So I'm assuming in your market too, take your pick on somebody who can do laminate or LVP.
Right.
Wood's harder to find now, tile's harder to find, and carpet's harder to find. They're all the specialized things. But carpet, and so tile installation numbers are going much, much higher for us, as well as I'm really making an effort to get the carpet guys up a little bit. And yeah, we haven't had any people really balk that much about those carpet numbers because it's still less expensive than putting in an LVP, but it's
Right.
not that much less than it was. So
Are you guys do it? We do very little tile in and there's guys in our area that do tile work, but the cost of labor in Kansas because of basements and wood subfloors, it's astronomical compared to any other product, and that's before they're even picking out products. Before you're talking about the tile and the grout and the mortar, the underlayment, just the labor itself, it's kind of priced itself out in our area because of that. And there's no guys that do it. So
yeah, we still have a lot of custom homes. Every custom home we do has a custom shower in it, maybe
yeah,
one, maybe two. You never know how many. So we still do a fair amount of tile work. I'm actually surprised I was just talking to one of my guys the other day, and I had to deliver a second pallet of mortar to a job site for him. And I didn't realize it, but he was doing an entire first floor of tile, which is almost unheard of.
on a
So
wood
I don't know if
subfloor.
on a wood subfloor, yeah. So using
Good for him.
no kidding. So he's going to do well on that job for sure.
Yeah.
But even he said he's like, this is ridiculous. I haven't had to do this much tile work in forever. It's usually a bathroom floor and then a custom shower, not an entire expanse of a first level. So yeah, we definitely do have some tile work. It's usually not as expansive as it used to be. Haven't done any commercial tile work. I can't even remember the last time we did commercial tile work. So it's all been residential, a lot of showers in residential remodels, and then the new construction. Almost every house has a custom shower, if not some flooring that's tile as well.
Yeah, our commercial work is glue down vinyl plank and carpet tile, and that's it.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
we'll go slap it down with the best of them.
Yep.
You were talking about the buyers, the current state of the industry with the customer, and I had a customer in last week who was the new customer. He had done hours and hours and hours of research and looked at all these different products, and he was looking at sheet vinyl, which I thought was odd, and he's like, can I put this over a radiant floor? I said, well, are you using a wire mesh system, or are you running water pipes and encasing it? He's like, well, I'm it's going to be encased in the floor. It's going to be a water heat system. I was like, oh, well, then you could put this sheet vinyl on top of it. He's like, oh, okay. He goes, so like on a mesh floor. I go, are you doing radiant heat, with the piping or the mesh? He's like, well, it's going to be on top. I said, well, then you cannot do this floor. You can't, lay this vinyl on top of it. He's like, well, I read that you could. I go, no, you didn't. He goes, no, there's a product made in England that you can use. I said, well, we don't sell those products here, sir. Good luck getting it here. Check your shipping and freight. Where has the customer changed? I mean, they're probably visiting less stores. Are they more educated now, or do they just think they're more educated than they were before?
I think it's a combination of both. I agree with you on visiting less stores. I think they are more educated, but I also think that education is not always well placed. So it's similar to what you just said. I had to go on an installation related claim. Somebody didn't like the way that we installed stairs. And she had done all this research after we had finished the installation on how it should have been done. And we didn't do anything wrong. It was industry standard. She just wanted it done another way, and it wasn't communicated well. And after talking her through that, she realized the way she thought she wanted it done would have made her more upset. So again, and she freely admitted, she's like, I AI'd it. I wanted to find out. It just didn't look right, and I just wanted, and when you do that research online, it's not going to disagree with you. It's going to find the reasons to agree with you and help you through the process to validate your concerns and help you through that. It's not going to say, well, you should have probably had it done this way instead of. So they are educated for sure, but the education isn't always in the right direction, and the information they get isn't always right. You kind of think of it when you look at all the SKUs that you have in your store and all the knowledge that you have to have. You're not right every time either.
Right.
But you're going to have a really good breadth of the knowledge of the products, maybe not the specific product lines. And for the most part, that information translates between different LVP manufacturers and different wood manufacturers. There's just little idiosyncrasies between each one of them. And the stuff that we pick up, because we do it on a daily basis, can't be compared to something that you can find out in an hour or two doing a search online. Because again, there's a lot of misdirection. I also think there's AI hallucinations, right? You just get bad information and you don't realize it. So they're definitely more informed, but not always informed correctly. And I think, human nature is to not always agree that you're wrong. So it's a really fine line of trying to explain more information without being condescending or coming off as condescending, and making sure that you're informing your consumer in the best possible way.
Yeah, I had to turn that customer over because we were not. I was not going to make him happy, and it wasn't coming out well, and I understood it. I was like, this is why I'm not on the floor very often. This is not going to end well. But I mean, even and I think it's a recent phenomenon. You're talking about the advent of AI in the last 2, 3, maybe 4 years, but 5 years plus, if a customer were to sit down and keyword search best carpet or what to put in my house, they were going to get one of two things. They were either going to get a list of manufacturers that they could click on, or they were going to get a list of retailers in their area that they could click on, and then they could do those. Now, if they're keyword searching best carpet or what to put in my home, they're going to get full paragraphs of information that's been collated from all these sites, and that's their starting point. So their starting point is not paid advertisements of their local retailers. It's not top of the mind awareness from the major manufacturers. It's just this collation of AI information that at that point now they start to go down different roads, and then they're just, and that's the way it is with everything. Is there a way, because you guys are on social media quite a bit through your guys' Instagram pages and stuff like that. Do you try and combat any of that from a advertising perspective, or do you just wait till you get them in the store and then try and wade through the information that they've received?
Yeah, the goal is always, no matter what, to get them in the store. Because once you get them in the store, you can create at least a minimal bond of trust in giving them good information and helping them get through. I'm actually interested to see how much AI is actually going to change all of our advertising from the web, because people aren't doing that search anymore. They're not finding your website through that search. They're doing an AI search and roaming from there. So how is that going to change everything that we do from an advertising standpoint to get people to our website, but much less, again, the website's great-ish. They need to be physically on location if you want to have the experience that I want you to have, and make sure that you have good information from a really well-educated sales staff.
Yeah, and I mean, I think, as long as we're still, because if they're going in with information in hand and they're going to, say, a box store like a Depot or a Lowe's or a Menards, I mean, they can have all the information they want. They're probably not going to get the answers that they want to hear there, nor are they going to get anybody to listen to what they believe are the answers, which means if that turns them around back into my store again, my sales staff should be able to win that, and they should be able to win it against their competition if, they're trained properly and know their materials and know their job well. So, and I've went to several AI breakout sessions with a lot of the manufacturers. I think we're still using that term really broadly to just describe anything that we don't know on a computer. Like, it's not taking over our jobs. I mean,
No.
Advertising wise, there's depending on how your algorithm is set on whatever social media you're on, it's gonna pop a lot of things out. But other than just chats and we're throwing things into Chat GPT, making sure that we don't send out the wrong email to somebody, I'm not sure it's had quite the impact that we think it has so far.
Yeah, it's a tool just like every other tool that you have at your disposal, and it's beneficial, and it has its negative qualities as well. And yeah, I don't think it's definitely not taking over. It's definitely not taking our jobs. It's not going to take away advertising, but it is changing the way that people search things. And I think that's something that as an industry we need to make sure that we're on the forefront of, to make sure that it's got to get you to the location, right? And you had kind of touched on the big boxes. I've always felt like, and I could be wrong on this, is I felt like that's a one-time purchase. You go there with the thought that you're going to do it yourself, or you're going to get at this extremely great value, but you're definitely, well, I shouldn't say that. There's a lower probability that you're going to get the kind of information that you're going to get from a local retailer. And if that information is bad or not what you thought it was, you're never going back there again. It's way too expensive of a purchase to chance. So I feel like, again, if you can get that customer to come to you right away, you're great. That's awesome. But that's not somebody you lose contact with. That's somebody you need to stay in contact with, because chances of them going back to a big box store for a second flooring purchase, I feel that's pretty minimal.
Yeah. The anything marketing that you guys are doing that's working well for you guys right now, or things that you've changed up in the last year or so, or is it just kind of steady as it goes?
Yeah, we've been pretty steady as it goes for the most part. I haven't really given up on any form of advertising completely yet. Closest would be on print. But there still is, we still have a generation that loves to have that newspaper in their hands and read through it.
So
We've been working.
does
Go
Madison
ahead.
still have does Madison, I assume the paper's out of Madison, or is it out of Wanaki?
Yeah, I do a local paper. There's a local paper for 5 communities that we do. I don't do anything with, I don't even know if Madison has, I mean, they do have I don't know if they have a physical paper, if it's just an online paper.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything we do is with the local chapter paper.
Yeah. Yeah, the Wichita Eagle, was around for hundreds of years. It got bought by some conglomerate, and then they started printing it out of Kansas City. Now I think it's actually printed out of St. Louis, so it's 2 days late. So we don't have a newspaper anymore in a town of 500,000 people, besides the online version. So
What's been working best for you? Well, you probably have gone over this with others, but what's been working best for you?
no, I really have. I mean, I do. We still do a pretty good jag of TV.
Hmm.
The cost of TV is still more advantageous to us than radio is. And plus, they get to see my pretty face on TV instead of just hearing my lovely voice. The other thing that's worked out really well, though, is that we've been doing a bunch of like OTT and ADT stuff. So we've been doing TV commercials on Hulu and YouTube TV and stuff like that, where, since there's less people doing traditional cable and stuff like that, and that's been working really well. And then just pounding organic social content.
Hmm.
I hired my 21-year-old daughter a couple of months ago and just said, here's the roadmap, have at it. And now she has me doing dumb TikTok videos all day long. And I'm not sure it leads to. I don't think anybody sees my silly TikTok and goes, man, I want to buy flooring from that guy. But it's free, and I think it keeps the name Jabbar at least top of mind somewhere for him. And I don't have to pay for it. I mean, other than I have to pay with my embarrassing soul. So other than that.
Yeah, you're similar to me in that you're the face of the company. I'm the face of the company.
Yeah.
I still do a fair amount of TV, and then we've been doing some more of the OTT. What we've been doing is, if we have studio time, we'll record everything,
Yeah.
anything, and some God knows what for future, and then release those slowly on Facebook, social, whatever it takes. And so kind of combining that all at once, getting that all out there. I think it's really important that the owners are the face of the company if possible. It's hard because not everybody's great at that, but a little bit of practice and you can get into it. And it is easier when, it's always amazing when people walk in the store like, well, you're like the guy. And I'm like, well, that's me. I'm the guy.
Yeah. I mean, it helps out. I mean, so they'll, like TV commercials. If I get, whether if I'm with Shaw Velocity, or if I'm a Mohawk Edge dealer, or if you're if you're a CCA dealer, whatever, an Abbey dealer, you should have a marketing calendar that you've gotten from those organizations. If this is, what we're doing each month or every 2 months, here's the national promotions. And so we'll go in at the beginning of the year. We'll try and cut taglines for all that stuff. It's beautiful. It's back to school. We'll cut all those tags, and then I have her. My buyer and TV people just they've got the schedule and they know how to run with it. And then on the social media and stuff like that, she'll just send me a script and say, hey, can we meet next Wednesday at 1:00? Here's the 5 or 6 things, and we'll go play with it. And she likes getting everybody else involved. And you find out really quick who on your staff is okay with being on camera and who wants absolutely nothing to do with it. And the good thing is my sales manager seems like he's a yuck, and he loves making a fool of himself on camera. So that's worked out well.
Yeah. Yeah. It leads to you're real. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody in your store is real when you do that kind of stuff. And my younger interior designers enjoy doing social media stuff, and they're good at it. They do awesome stuff, and I don't understand it a lot of times. That's okay. I don't need to. I just need it to bring people in the store. And yeah,
And we copy things off of each other. I mean, I'll see something that H&R Carpets do, and I just tag her in it, and then she'll do it and figure it out a way to do it for our store. Or I'll see a landscaping company or a construction company. I'll say, hey, that's funny. I like that, or that was a good point, and I'll send it to her, and she'll redo it so that it's flooring related and works around us. And as long as it's not the guy down the street from me, I mean, I'm a pretty well known thief with permission. Uh,
or without.
or without. I mean, I'm like, hey, I like that. Do you mind if I borrow it? Or I'm just going to borrow that because we don't have the same customer. So,
Yeah, I agree.
all right. Well, I have kept you long enough. It was a great conversation. We always try and end it with rapid fire, and I might have to switch these up because, I've talked to Mark and I've talked to Reagan, and they both get kind of stuck. So we'll see how you do if you're okay with it.
So is rapid fire from me to you or you to
Yep,
me?
I'm going to give you a question, and you give me the first thing that pops into your head.
All right.
You ready? There is no wrong answer.
There is always a wrong answer.
If there is one thing you'd fix in the industry overnight, what do you think it'd be?
Jesus.
Why can't you just go, what's your favorite color?
Yeah, I think it's I think the thing I would change in the industry, if I could change it overnight, would have more to do with reps understanding their products and being able to do informational stuff on them better. I think that's something that's lacking. I think they focus on the sales side of it, which is super important. But if you can't explain your product well to us, there's a chance it's never going to make it on the floor. And if my people know more about it before you even start talking about it, that's a problem.
Yeah, that's definitely a problem. You were a new owner at one time. Best advice you would give a new store owner?
Be as open as you can be to new ideas. Nothing's going to work every single time. Failure is really important because it tells you what you should do, and stick in there and hold your margins. Do not drop margins when you think things are going poorly, because that's a dangerous place to go. You can get yourself into a lot of trouble really quickly.
Yeah, downhill from there. So, talking about margins, what's one metric that you think every retailer should really track?
Oh, I mean, I would go with margins. That's the biggest thing I think you should track. But since I was talking about margins the last time, I think one of the biggest things you should track would be inventory versus inventory versus receivables. I think that tells you a lot.
Yeah, yeah. This is the one that everybody seems to get stumped on it, so I'm going to probably have to change it. What is the biggest myth or misconception about the flooring business?
That carpet is the worst thing that you can put on a floor. I really hate that. It drives me absolutely crazy. I can show you study after study after study talking about how good carpet is for the air quality in homes and schools. Whereas if you spend your time watching or looking on the internet, you're going to find to get rid of that filthy carpet. Carpet is an incredible filter that, when maintained, can completely change the overall air quality of your house in a really positive manner. So carpet takes the dirt in, you vacuum it out, it's gone. Hard surface, dirt goes on it, you clean it, it goes up in the air, comes right back down. Carpet is such a good floor covering. That's the biggest myth in the industry, I think.
That's not, you can drop the and flooring and just go back to strictly H&R Carpets and just sell carpet the whole time.
I'm kind of surprised that Reagan and Mark got stumped on that one. That was like low hanging fruit, baby.
I don't know. That one, my easy answer is that it's an easy business to get into, because where I'm at, it seems like every single person out there wants to open a flooring store. I mean,
And the gas station.
there are 70. I mean, there are many floor. Let's see, it's flooring stores, chicken joints, mattresses, and car washes. Those are the big. Those are the big four right now. Of we can just put one on every single corner in the city. So.
That's another.
All right.
So that's my other. I'm going to give you that one too. And you may or may not agree with me on this. I feel like in order to open a flooring store, you should have to have a working dock
Yeah.
and a forklift. Anybody that doesn't have a working dock and a forklift shouldn't be able to receive flooring.
You should at least. I mean, I think, and I think anybody listening to this knows that there are those out there, and that there's some really good manufacturers and some really good distributors, and then there's some ones that don't do it as well. I really appreciate my partners that will not open up every single person that simply wants to sell their product, that they hold their ground. I mean, there's people trying to open up stores without a brick and mortar location, and there's distributors and manufacturers like, okay, as long as you want to buy something, we'll sell it to you. Those are the companies I tend to stay away from. Because they're opening up every day. I mean, even if they're not, they're like roofers. No offense to roofers, but it's just guys with $100,000 trucks that have an account at flooring whatever, and they're just trying to sell flooring out of the back of their truck, and that I don't want to be partners with those guys. So.
Yeah, and some competition is good. I mean, we keep each other honest, but we also, when you're dealing with quality flooring stores, that's good business. That's how we have these conversations. That's how we keep this industry moving forward.
Yeah, and I love iron sharpening iron. I mean, I love the competition, the quality retailers in my area. We all kind of stay in our same lane, and everybody does a little something different. I just wish there was a lot less of the bad ones.
I agree, 100%. 100% with you there.
We'd all. I think everybody else's business would benefit. The installation would be better. The customer experience would be better. It would make the industry better overall. But that's probably a whole different podcast. So
probably part 2.
All right. Yeah, well, I appreciate it. I won't take any more of your time. Thank you for joining me today, and for everybody else out there, we'll be back next week with another episode of the Flooring 101 podcast. So thanks, Brent Ziggler, for H&R Carpets, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
Thanks, Jace. Good talking to you.
Thank you for listening to the Flooring 101 podcast. If you found value in today's conversation, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with another flooring professional who could benefit from it. Remember, great flooring businesses aren't built by chance. They're built through systems, leadership, and consistent execution. Until next time, keep learning, keep improving, and keep building a better flooring business.